Laser engraving is only for professionals. Well, that's simply not true at all. And in this comprehensive video, I am absolutely going to prove it to you. In fact, this isn't even my very first video about the remarkable AlgoLaser Pixi, which is widely considered one of the absolute best laser engravers specifically designed for beginners. There are several compelling reasons why this particular machine is so incredibly great. For one thing, it's quite small and compact, exceptionally easy to use, not overly expensive, and you can effectively use it for a wide variety of engraving projects. You can engrave and cut with it, and it has its own operating system, which means you don't need a tablet, you don't need a phone, you don't even need a computer, just the machine itself, and with it, you'll be able to do all kinds of work completely independently. In this video, I'll show you how this operating system works, and I'll demonstrate just how simple it is to set up. For this, I'll be using this small camera to make the whole presentation a bit more interactive. So, what is this all about? Well, it's about the fact that on this machine here, we have an operating system. And through the touch screen of this operating system, you can set up everything. You can choose which materials you want to work with. You can select the pattern you want to engrave or what you want to cut. So basically, you can do everything through this display. You can use your finger for this, or you can also use a stylus like this one. By the way, this is provided by the manufacturer with the machine. So what are we going to work with today? Well, I've prepared a few work pieces for myself here that I'm going to engrave. We have a small wooden disc, an aluminum name tag. This is a coated, painted name tag, a dog tag, and a leather keychain, which really requires some skill to align the design on, because this keychain is relatively small. Or you don't have to be a pro at all. And in fact, this video is exactly about how you really don't need to be a professional to use this machine. And you can neatly place the engraving design even on such a small surface. So, where should we start? Let's maybe begin with the simplest one, this name tag. We need to place it into the machine. That's our first step. The next thing is to select the material we want to work with, and then start the project. We select the theme. Today, we're going to engrave motorcycle theme designs. Specifically, I'm going to engrave this illustration onto this aluminum plate. The material is already selected since I've already done a test with it, but the point is that you can choose from all kinds of materials, so you don't have to figure out exactly what material you're working with or what speed and laser power are needed for that particular material. On the next screen, you can select how strong you want the laser to be, meaning how dark or light the engraving should be. Obviously, since we're talking about a metal plate here, we won't be able to achieve a very dark result. So we'll choose the strongest setting and confirm it. The next thing we need to do is click the processing button, and then we place the design somewhere in the center like this, and there's a framing function. If we proceed to click on the framing function, which is a very useful feature designed to help us visualize the laser's path, the laser itself will meticulously trace around the precise area where it is programmed to perform its work. As we observe this tracing, we can clearly see that the current positioning is not quite right or perfectly aligned, primarily because a portion of the design is noticeably hanging over the edge of the material, which would lead to an incomplete or damaged cut. Therefore, to ensure a perfect and accurate result, we absolutely need to carefully move the entire design over just a little bit, making sure it is fully contained within the boundaries of our material before initiating the actual laser operation. So that's basically all there is to the initial setup process. Here, on this very clear and intuitive display, you precisely set where you want the specific design you are intending to engrave to be accurately placed. Then, you carefully check whether, when the laser meticulously traces around the designated area, it's actually positioned correctly on the card itself. And if everything appears to be perfectly fine and in order, all you have to do is simply close this protective cover, then firmly press the prominent start button, and then we can finally take a good look at the impressive results. Our very first workpiece is now completely done, so we are truly excited to carefully observe and see exactly how it ultimately turned out. You can clearly see on the display that it explicitly states the entire operation is finished, indicating its successful completion. So we will now confidently press the Finish Dry button and then seamlessly go back to the initial first page. Following this, we will meticulously check and inspect how the intricate engraving actually looks. Well, upon closer inspection, this particular piece turned out quite nicely. You can observe that it's not exactly perfectly uniform or precisely as envisioned in every single detail, but overall it's a very good outcome. It didn't turn out bad. Actually, what you need to know about this whole thing is that without having to move the workpiece around on the plate too much, we set everything up from the display. So it really proved how easy this machine is to use. But now we're going to move on, and we'll engrave on this wooden disc, a tiger to be exact. Here, it's important to set the focus in order to work properly, so that we can work properly and effectively. And for that, we need to carefully set the focus using this small specialized tool, which looks like a little hammer. We have to place it precisely under the head and then gently lower the head down so it's perfectly precise. Like this, that's absolutely perfect. That will certainly do. And for this, we're going to select a built-in design, not this particular one. I want to engrave a tiger head on it. This will be perfect. Here too, we select the material. This time we're not going to engrave on metal, but we'll look for wood. Let's choose this plywood. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. This will work just fine. And let's pick a slightly stronger pattern. Okay, it doesn't matter here. We have now successfully arrived at the display area. The immediate question that arises is, where exactly do we want to perform the intricate engraving? To determine the optimal placement, let's meticulously check where the laser currently runs. As you can clearly observe, its current position is in a completely different and unexpected place. Therefore, I will carefully move it right here to the center of our designated work area. Yes, that's much better and more aligned with our requirements now. However, upon closer inspection, it appears that the image itself is currently too big for the intended engraving space. But rest assured, that particular aspect is not a significant problem either, as we have methods to adjust it. The primary issue that we are currently encountering is directly related to the size parameter, which can be precisely adjusted and set to a specific measurement of 35 millimeters. Consequently, when this particular setting is applied, the resulting image that is projected or created will be considerably and noticeably much smaller in its overall dimensions. Let us now carefully observe and thoroughly examine how this configuration visually manifests itself. Upon closer inspection, you can clearly and distinctly perceive that I am required to incrementally raise the laser mechanism, primarily because the projected image is not accurately positioned or properly aligned onto the surface of the ring. Therefore, I will proceed to carefully and gently lift it up a little bit to achieve the correct alignment and focus. Alright, let us now meticulously proceed with the intricate and crucial process of framing. We have reached a point where we are entirely prepared and all systems are fully operational, indicating a state of complete readiness for the next phase. I am now poised and ready to initiate the recording sequence by firmly pressing the start button at this precise moment, thereby commencing our operation. In the interim, while these preparations have been underway, the crucible has successfully completed its designated task and is now entirely finished, signifying a significant and timely milestone in our current operational workflow. This is how the finished piece ultimately turned out. Well, this is precisely what it looks like, and I truly think it's exceptionally professional. The structural strength is also very good. We've already burned a little bit of three-dimensional detail quite deeply into the material, so perhaps we could have used a slightly lower laser power setting, but in the end, I genuinely think it turned out remarkably well. And just look how nicely and perfectly we managed to center it. I'm going to completely skip this particular dog tag because, honestly, there's not really much that's especially interesting or noteworthy about it at all. There's absolutely nothing particularly interesting here, so let's just jump straight to this specific keychain, because this particular keychain is truly the most interesting one, especially since we have to meticulously work on a very delicate and thin strip of material. And now, with great care, I'm going to engrave a detailed emblem on it, specifically a motorcycle emblem, and this will undoubtedly be the very last job we undertake. Here too, of course, we absolutely must carefully set the laser's precise focal distance, and for that crucial step, we definitely need to use this trusty hammer once again, just like this, to achieve the perfect focus. There's a small, precisely engineered knob located conveniently on the very top of the device, which you can effortlessly rotate and manipulate to meticulously adjust the vertical height of the laser head. As you carefully turn this particular knob, you will observe that the focal point of the laser beam will accurately and precisely end up in its optimal and correct position, ensuring a perfect and crisp engraving or cutting result. Now, this specific adjustment should be just about right for our current task. Let's proceed to carefully select an appropriate emblem from our available options. It clearly states this particular one, which seems like an excellent choice for our demonstration. This will be leather, so we absolutely need to find some suitable leather for this project. I sincerely hope that we can locate and acquire some high-quality leather, as it is crucial for our design. If, for some unforeseen reason, we are unable to find the appropriate leather, then we will have to reluctantly switch our material choice to something like a high-resolution JPEG image, because, there it is, thankfully. Good, okay, we have successfully set that up and configured everything correctly, so there should be no problem whatsoever with the processing phase. Now we just need to meticulously set the precise size and dimensions, of course, and also consider other important parameters. First, let's carefully consider and execute the framing of our shot. We need to position the camera and subject in a way that creates a visually appealing composition. For instance, we might adjust the angle and height, ensuring that all the key elements are within the frame and that there's a good balance of space. As I'm doing this, I'm observing the monitor, and it appears that the current framing, while a good start, might be slightly off-center or perhaps too heavily weighted towards the right side of the composition. I need to make a minor adjustment to correct this imbalance and achieve a more harmonious and aesthetically pleasing visual arrangement for our final output. I successfully managed to get the smoke off, but we will observe the final outcome in just a moment. This particular item, unfortunately, initially turned out to be quite smoky, presenting a noticeable haze. However, the solution was surprisingly straightforward. All that was truly necessary was to meticulously wipe the smoke off the surface. As you can clearly observe, precisely where I carefully wiped it, the surface became perfectly clean and clear, revealing its original condition without any residue. Ultimately, a really cool, intricately designed little Honda emblem with its distinctive details ended up being prominently displayed and perfectly situated on the steering wheel, adding a nice touch to the overall aesthetic. For a keychain, I got a bit dirty, so this needs to be washed a little, and if you wash it, it'll look nice. And we carefully glued a Honda emblem onto this thin strip. Well, I could actually end this video right here, because I think I've shown everything I wanted to show. So, to sum up, I made this video to show you that without any special training, studies, or practice. Basically, just a few minutes after unboxing, you can start using this machine. You can engrave with it, you can cut with it. The disadvantage of its small size is that you can only fit relatively small work pieces inside, but for making small gifts, Christmas ornaments, jewelry, keychains, and 1,000 other things that you can imagine, it's perfect. You can see that you can engrave on metal with it. So from that perspective, this machine is, in my opinion, really perfect. If you liked it, you'll find the link in the description below the video where you can purchase it. If you enjoyed this video, check out the other 2 videos appearing here, or pick one of them. And of course, subscribe to my channel because I'll be back with more similar content. Take care, look after yourselves, and goodbye.